And I just finished updating those grades, and so we'll look at the outline. So the outline is supposed to be so if you just want, even if you don't use complete sentences for it, if you just like have your Roman numeral, this is the introductory paragraph, and then you have five Roman numerals, and then you map out um your topic, sentence, claim, or evidence, or you just map it out like that, and you have three main points or so per paragraph. That's okay, but it's supposed to help you with writing your paper. So you just like it basically is like a sketch of your paper to help you know what claims and evidence, what examples are you're gonna use in your paper. So let me see here. Was your question um about how to write it?
Yes.
Okay. So I know I use this format here, and this is, that so this is more detailed, but let's say you have an introduction, you have at least your um you could put just your thesis. So you have your thesis here. It's explain whether the chosen example of a written or visual genre meets the definition of the popular culture genre based on specific criteria you have discerned based on the definition of the popular culture genre. So basically, like you'll just want to make sure you define what you believe the popular culture genre means, because the popular culture genre is actually kind of open-ended. It's actually kind of hard to define, but in general, in the discussions I've been getting so far, so y'all have been doing a good job of defining popular culture. But you can define it and come up with clear criteria based on how it fits into that genre. And so you would just be explaining whether that either you agree that that work you chose fits into the genre or doesn't. Or you could say, though this traditionally wouldn't be seen as popular culture, it can be seen in this way. If you so you could be conceding and kind of say, well, though most people see this as a traditional work, that because you have found connections to um, other films and whatnot in our world today, um, that and other things like that. So, like for instance, I know that just doing research, the Epic of Gilgamesh, that's one of the I think the first pieces of literature that scholars have found. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a Babylonian epic poem, and that there still are references to the Epic of Gilgamesh. That is the oldest work that most scholars would say that they have found. It does have allusions to the flood story in the Bible and whatnot, so it's very old, but yet that it can still be seen in popular culture and in films or video games and other things. I mean, I know that I think they even reference like Dante or something like that, Dante's work in some of the video games. So sometimes that you could find direct, even if it's like video games or if it's films or books. Maybe other books have been based on like an old text that you still see that in connection to that particular old story. I know I gave the example of the Pride and Prejudice that people actually decided to turn that into in our world today. People in our world today came up with Pride and Prejudice and zombies. And I know even if you think about Shakespeare's works, that Shakespeare, that 10 Things I Hate About You is adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew, and there's some other ones. So you could pick something that's really old, and then you'll still be able to say, though this is not traditionally seen in this popular culture genre, that it still has ties here, and then so it still fits in certain ways. If you pick something that definitely is, like, let's say you picked a TV series, you would just really focus on those points as to how it fits in the genre. Like the Breaking Bad is one that I know I looked up and did some research on. And that one has a lot of popular culture references. Breaking Bad. Little Miss Sunshine was also another article I found on the popular culture genre, that that there's popular culture references within Little Miss Sunshine. The Red Dwarf was in that PowerPoint that we went over, and it has popular culture references in it as well. And of course, Star Wars and Batman and Harry Potter are all popular culture. Um, and then there's books. I put the selection, which is a teenage girl series. So that was, I know, it's popular more several years ago. Gossip Girls. These are more obvious examples of popular culture. Um, and Anne of Green Gables is a classic, and so is Pride and Prejudice, but you could still possibly make connections. And so that it basically just be your evaluation of it, and explaining how it fits in. And so for the outline, let's say you have Roman numeral 2, 3, 4, and 4 and 5. So you have your body paragraphs and conclusion. And let's say you didn't want this many letters, that you just wanted to say, you just want to put letter A is just make a claim about the purpose of the visual or written genre. Um, and I say, what did the creator of the text want to achieve with it? Why was it created? Did something prompt the creator to make the text? And then you would just give an example. And here you can cite from directly from the source if you like. It'd be good if you did. You need to make sure you do have evidence, and if you do get it from the source, try to cite it, author's last name, page, and get in the habit of citing, because in the research paper, it's going to be required that you do cite in MLA format. Um, and then you want to explain whether the example shows the purpose of the visual or written or of the visual or written genre, that it meets the criteria of what defines one of the purposes of popular culture. And so I remember I broke this down into the body paragraphs will focus on these main things. The purpose of the text in connection to the purpose of the popular culture genre. That's the first body paragraph. The second one is the genre conventions based on how it fits the definition of the popular culture genre. And then the last one is connections of the text to other sources tied to popular culture. So in the first body paragraph, you're just talking about the purpose of the text and connection to popular culture. If you don't see the relevance there, you could still explain why. If you do, then explain the genre conventions based on how it fits into the definition of popular culture genre. Then you would just be really explaining how that genre, whether it's let's say you picked a tragedy or a comedy or a tragicomedy of a film or a romantic comedy, whatever it is, like you are going to focus on still what you would characterize that as being categorized by, and also the type, if it's a film, it's a poem, it's a book, how those genres are fitting into you either you want to focus on the genre itself, like film, or be more specific and talk about how tragedy. It'd be more specific if you just focus on whether, if let's say it's a film, it was a tragic film. How does that fit into the popular culture genre? Just explain. That's all you're doing is explaining, and then any connection of the text to other sources tied to popular culture, that's when you can really bring in, like, in if you pick like an old work and you can make connections. But even the works that are already you are obviously popular culture, that let's say with Breaking Bad, that that they bring in a lot of popular culture references. So you could talk about in that paragraph, talk about the other references to popular culture or connections from that TV series to other things. And so that's how you would make those connections. So those points, that's what all you're doing in those three body paragraphs. And you could, for this outline, just have claim and then a citation. You have in the second body paragraph claim, citation. So if you don't want to have to write out the transition, the claim, and then the example, and then explanation, just just write out at least these two after just the claim and the example. And like I said, hopefully it's something that you can cite, or just explain what your example is. Like if it's a scene from a film or a chapter from a book, um but let's say you don't know the page number and it's a chapter from a book, you could still write the author's last name and the chapter number in brackets, and that because MLA ninth edition is a little bit more lenient on citation structuring, and it used to be more strict in terms of this and of how to format it. So even if that's all you have was the author and the chapter number, you could write that in the brackets there. So you just at least want evidence from the work in some way, like whether it's a scene or it's a chapter or something like that, or an episode of a film or sorry, of a TV series, excuse me. And then the third body paragraph, once again, just the claim and the evidence here. And that's all you really need. And then in the conclusion, you just want to make sure that you are going to um, sum up the main points, what life lessons or values that we can learn. So in the outline, if you just want to write one sentence, let's say, you could write, letter A, explain the life lessons, or I will discuss these life lessons and values just even a one sentence, because as long as you have a thesis and write out the claim and the evidence, that's really all you need to know how to format your paper. Like then when you get to writing the paper, it's a whole lot easier. It's not as much of a headache or a struggle to think, okay, well, I think I was gonna say this, but I can't remember what scene or chapter that was in. And I would encourage you, if it is a TV series or a film, you could, pull it up on YouTube or whatever. If you have some other like you know, app or something like that, you could pull it up and rewatch it, whatever it is, and that you are gonna write about. And you could just kind of like really try to scrutinize it and then help you find examples from certain scenes or whatnot. And if you don't know the exact scene number, well, that's okay. Just make sure you make note of it, of what's going on in that scene, and you can explain it, and that's your example. If you could find what, episode it is and document that in the citation, that's okay as well. Does that help answer your question, Carrington?
Yes, ma'am, and I have one more quick question. So for this paper, we're doing a whole new story, right? We don't use our last story, correct?
So for this one, that you're not using the story that you made up. So this is more of like an analytical paper. You can still work with whatever, like say that um you wrote a paper on Pride and Prejudice. So you made up a creative story on it, and so you can still work with Jane Austen's work, but it would not be based on your creative story. So that's one reason why you can still work with that work that you made up your story based on, but you would not be using your creative plot line.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, that's kind of just like you could see it as an extension of that paper. So if you want to keep working with that one, then that same book or film, you can do that for this paper as well. And so we'll go to the worksheet if y'all would like to. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to anything else?
Uh, can I use? Do you think the Bible is related to popular culture?
I mean, I think that you can see it sometimes in popular culture. Yeah, I mean, like that there are references to it and on TV. I mean that they made it, and even well, the Christian music that's popular culture. That's part of like the music, and there's probably some other things that you can find that are connected to popular culture. Yeah, I know there's that. Well, I don't know if you call the genre popular culture, but definitely that is contemporary music, and that's part of popular culture. And then there are references on some films to those songs and things like that, and there's movies still, based on it. in the theater sometimes also, so you could find even, films based on it, at times also.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to know because that's one of my ideas.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely, because I mean, like I said, you do see it in popular culture, contemporary culture, as well, and, um, yeah, you definitely could, base it on that also. Um, and let's see. So I was still trying to for the worksheet that I realized that once again that I knew well because wrote partners for that peer review on the first one, and so I did update the one for the 2 1 2 4 5 4. So I was going to update the one for 1 2 4 5 5, and I know one student that's not in this meeting, but they were telling me that their partner was not in the class anymore. So if anything though like that does happen and you see that they're not in the class and somehow they pop up, then just let me know and I'll see if I can find you another partner. Um, but I know that it is a little bit more difficult because we're not in meeting in a classroom, to actually sit down with your peer and review the paper and whatnot. But I know at least I think a few students were able to do it, but the way you do it is you download the paper to, if you want someone to review, you download it to the discussion, and it's under discussions, the discussion for SA2. And then you would wait for your partner to post theirs, and then you would take the worksheet and review their paper and then submit it where the assignment for the worksheet is. And you can write your name as the reviewer and they are the reviewee. And so and then they would review your paper and then write your name, that they reviewed your paper. And then you would want to give them their feedback. You could post the worksheet that you review their paper back in the discussion board so they can actually see your comments on their paper. And that way they actually see what it is that you think that they could do better with their paper. So like I said, I know there's no way because I had to think about this for a while because we're not in a classroom where you could just review your partner's paper, hand it back to them so they could look at your notes that you wrote on their paper and their comments and whatnot. Um, and so that way that you could just repost it in the discussion so they can see it, and then you post it in where the worksheet is as well. But like I said, if they don't ever download their paper, so you could just always review your own paper and then also using tutor.com. So tutor.com um is definitely a helpful source and it's right here. So where my mouse is here at tutor.com. It's great. Just make sure to do it within a day or two at least before you turn it in. I heard from other students they're pretty fast about getting your paper back to you. And that is something to make note of as well. But yeah, for this week, there's the draft discussion board. There's also a 47-point paragraph on finding a scholarly conversation on popular culture with Rosenberg's article. Then there's a revision worksheet, and then the genre analysis. That's due October 6th. Um, just to really make sure to try to get that paper due on time. I know all of y'all that are coming to these meetings already did the first essay. I do still have some students that did not do essay one, and I did put zeros in there, except for the one student that did meet with me and say, the reason why, and I'm gonna give her some extra time to work on it. But I'm gonna post this for if someone is gonna watch this later that on the recording that just make sure you get your essay one in. So I know everyone on this meeting that y'all did your work for the first essay. Um, because it is 100 points and that it is a major part of the grade is just those 4 papers. And then there is a midterm and a final, but like I said, those you can go back and retake it. So if you, like I said, even with any quizzes, if you don't like your score, then you can retake it, and it's no big deal. A lot of times, usually, I even with myself, if I'm taking some sort of assessment, I've noticed, and it's not even like I'm taking a test and something that's not even something that I studied in school or anything like that. Wasn't educated on, but I'm trying to learn something, and I take a test on it, and I don't do very good on it, and then I retake it. I usually can make it like at least an 80 or 90, even if I did really bad and like just the first time trying to take it. So usually if you can retake it and you have a pretty good memory, that, like I said, it's so much easier. And then you do remember the information that it's not like you're getting nothing out of it because you do remember, well, I missed that, but then I remember correcting myself and I know this now. And so you're still adding that knowledge back in case, like I said, that you don't do as good on the quiz or the assessment, because you can go back and fix it. So it's not like you have missed that answer and then you don't even know what the correct answer is. So, like I said, if you do want to go back and just for your own benefit of even if you did well, you could go back and retake it and try to see if you can get 100 on it, because that way you know what question you missed, and that that you're confident that you have fixed that gap in your learning, that you know what that is now. So there's nothing wrong with retaking it for the online class, because like I said, the main emphasis is on the writing, and it just helps reinforce those. But there is no assessment for this week. Um, but I was going to, so I'm trying to update the partners, and we'll take a look at the worksheet here in a minute. And we'll take a look at the worksheet, and I'll probably show you that paragraph on Rosenberg's article. So that the Rosenberg's article is another article on well, now I just messed up because this is not what I had. See. So okay. So yeah, so I need to go back out of here and find as I want to find the first worksheet, and then what I'm doing is just gonna find that first worksheet that I updated the partners on it. Did y'all think it was helpful to have partners to be posted, or um did any of y'all, or do you think that there's a better way, or any suggestions if that you think that there's a better way to review, or if if you it comes down to it and you're able to communicate with your classmate, even if they weren't, if like say you and another student are the only ones that post your paper, that it should be okay. Or you're very few people posted to try to contact them and then just review their paper. Did that help any y'all
I
to
liked it.
okay. All right, so I want to find um the worksheet from the narrative, your vision for narrative one. Okay, so this is for the 12455, and I think divorce was the one that said that Andrew is no longer in the class, so I may have to like connect her to. Sometimes if it doesn't come out evenly, I'm just maybe that I can actually give her Bonnie Slaughter or Bonnie Sarasky, so she may go in that, because I do remember that student said that there was nobody named Andrew in the class anymore. So if that happens and you say, well, I don't know who this is because they're not in the class anymore, just let me know and I'll try to fix it for you so that you have a partner. And I know some of y'all are in the dual enrollment. I don't know if you know some of your peers from your school or not, but yeah, if you do know them, then that's a great way to you already know class and one of your peers, and to review the paper and whatnot, that you, and if like you actually know the peer, and you could just say, well, I already know this classmate, can I review their paper or whatnot? That's okay too. So I'll do fix this because I remember she had reached out. And okay. And so I did the 1, 2, 4, 5, 4 class, and then see. I think that also left off the bonus as well, so I need to fix that also. The bonus by using tutor.com, that that was something that this is going to be for SA2. So if you want extra credit too, that you want to use the tutor.com, that's a great way as well. Do y'all have any questions so far? Do y'all know what you are wanting to work on for your papers?
Yes.
That's good.
No, I'm good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm good as well.
That's good. And let's see. The only thing, just got one more, and then I'll add that bonus for the tutor.com. I did while we were on here, I did. If I somehow missed you for the bonus for the teams, just let me know to update your SA1. But I did go back and do those. I remember that we met with I'm sorry, I met with not last class, but I believe it was the class before that on the paper revision. And there's one student that is wanting in the class, so I'm gonna admit them. Hi, Kate, how are you doing today? Hi, Kate, how are
I'm
you
good.
doing? Good.
Hello.
Good. So I know I actually started this class around 8 o'clock for those that want to meet before it, and we have talked a lot about the paper, but I'm gonna go back over it one more time here for those that just show up to this. And right now what I'm doing is I am updating the partners for the peer review. Um, and then I'll go back and add in the bonus if you want to use tutor.com. It is on this page here. Scroll down. The tutor.com is right here, and it is free through Jeff State. And as long as you submit a copy of your paper like a week or so before, not a week, sorry, excuse me, not a week. Maybe like at least I would give them at least a day or two. So I would say about 2 days before your paper is due, and they will give you some good feedback on it as well. Um, I've heard that they actually respond pretty fast, and it was a good experience. And like I said, if you want to do the peer review, I'm trying to find one more list here, and then I'm going to update the um partners for SA2. And like I said, if something happened and your partner is no longer in the class, just let me know. And I will update that as well and try to find you a different peer review partner. I think there's one more student that needs to be admitted. Hi, Yasmin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Um, so some of us did actually, we had some logged in at 8 to meet with Susan. We've actually been on this since really about 8 o'clock. I did talk with one student, and so I did talk about the outline again. And right now, what I'm doing is on my screen, I'm updating the peer review partners for the revision worksheet, and then we'll just kind of just review over the genre analysis, in the paragraphs and what's expected in the paragraphs. Um, I still may refer back to that outline because the outline just kind of mapped it out as well, what's supposed to be in each body paragraph. As for this week, there is a 47-point paragraph on finding a scholarly conversation on popular culture with Rosenberg's article from Writing Spaces. The discussion board for the draft essay number 2. This is if you want to peer review that. This one, it looks like it still has October 5th on here. That's when it's due, I believe. So, um, anyhow, so if you want a peer review, then you just want to post it in that. If you don't want a peer review, if you want to just review your own paper, just use the worksheet here. And I'm about to update the partners, and then probably after this meeting, I realized this worksheet's also missing the bonus. If you want to use tutor.com, it's a really good resource that just, submit your paper in a day or two before it's due, and you will get some good feedback if you want someone else to review. I always recommend, having your paper reviewed. That's why we do the peer review partners, because it really does help. If you have access to a writing center or tutor.com, and since this is an online class, tutor.com and peer review partners are really important. And like if you do notice on this list, if any of the students, and these students all look like they should be active. I think so. I'm not sure if Jamia is. I'm just looking at this list, and there might be a couple on this one, but for the most part, these all look like they're active students. But if, like, say that you saw your partner's name and you're like, you don't know, they're not in the class anymore, just let me know and I'll try to find you another peer review partner. That way it'll make it easier for you. But I just posted this, updated the worksheets for you with peer review partners. And okay, for those of you who just joined, welcome. And we actually started this meeting around 8. So, that I went over the outline and I just updated the peer review partners, and we're just gonna take a look at module 8 for this week. Um, for this, for essay 2, because there's 4 major essays. So we did essay 1. Um, I'm sure everyone in this meeting I know everyone has done essay 1. I still have a few students that have not done essay 1. I know every single one of y'all in this meeting have done it because I remember y'all's papers, but there's still a few that have not done essay 1. But make sure that you do the 4 main essays. So we're working on essay number 2 this week, and that is the genre analysis. Um, for this week, there are a couple of things due. So there's a 47-point paragraph on Rosenberg's article, Finding a Scholarly Conversation on Popular Culture with her article. You're using Rosenberg's article. I'll click on that in a second here. The discussion board for SI2 is really only if you want to have your paper peer reviewed. Then upload your paper, wait for your partner to upload theirs, then review their paper using the worksheet. You submit it where the worksheet is right here, and then also post theirs to the discussion board so that they can see your feedback. If you do not want to have anybody review your paper in the class, then just use this worksheet right here. And then the essay of the genre analysis on essay 2 is due on October the 6th. For that 47-point paragraph on Rosenberg's article, so the instructions are: read the following article, Reading Game Strategies for Reading Scholarly Sources by Karen Rosenberg, and read question number 2 on page 219, excuse me. So there's also a YouTube that I posted on writing a scholarly conversation. And so for this paragraph, you want to make sure that you have a topic sentence and the following sentence should address Rosenberg's article as it focuses on reading academic texts as entering a conversation. Then you want to give an example from our conversation on popular culture and academia. So then you want to then write a claim from Smith in the following article based on how you specifically believe that one can engage in a scholarly conversation with popular culture. So you just want to read that article there. Then for this, you could just write Smith and the paragraph number because it will know the page number. Then you want to say another claim using a specific example from popular culture based on how you can enter the scholarly conversation with the text. And remember, this can be from watching videos, reading articles, and then you want to give an example from a television series, film, And then explain how this proves your point and ties into Rosenberg's article. And so, though I'm not asking you to cite directly from Rosenberg's article, it would be good if you could bring in one more citation here, but you do definitely need to explain how it does tie into Rosenberg's article. So you can bring in another citation if needed here. So just make sure that you do that as well. And so, like I said, that there's just there's videos, there's an extra article to read to engage, and then just explain how this ties into Rosenberg's article. And this will kind of help you be thinking about how to write your paper as well. And so for the let's see. For the paper itself, so this is the 100-point genre analysis on popular culture. And the worksheet is just the same format. I will add after this meeting, I will add the extra credit if you want to use tutor.com. That was left off the worksheet too, because that was something that I made right when class started and I didn't have time to update everything again. So I will add that back to it also. But we did already talk about, this assignment, the structure of it. Really, I feel like, this is a good overview of what your paper is calling for. So the thesis is broken down into 3 points that we went over this earlier. So you want to make sure you have a clear thesis that defines popular culture and explains whether the written or visual genre you have chosen ties into the definition of popular culture. And then in the first body paragraph, you'll explain how the purpose of the genre of the source ties into the popular culture genre. So let's say that you chose a film or a book or TV series that you want to explain how that genre is going to tie into the popular culture genre. And then you want to explain how the conventions of the genre and the source connect to the popular culture genre. So let's say that you picked a romantic comedy. So you're going to focus on how that aspect of the subgenre, so to speak, so how that subgenre or the genre of the source, like the tragedy or comedy. And I might could specify this in more detail here. To give you maybe a little bit more specific examples of how you could start to say the purpose of the genre, let's say TV, television, so is it film, book, or TVs? Because there's so many different definitions of genre, book, or film, book, or TV, television. Okay, and then you could say it says subgenres. So like, you have tragedies, tragedy, comedy, tragic comedy, romantic comedy, comedy, etc. And connection to the popular culture genre, and then connections to the source to connections of the source to popular culture. So examples of how the source is seen in um, in our world today. Film, movie, so film, music, art, etc. Okay, so that kind of maybe that's a little bit more specific here. So that's basically all you're going to be doing here, and just like I said, that and we go back to the outline too. That the outline explains once again that you want at least one claim and one citation in each body paragraph. And then also I wrote the definitions of the popular culture genre here. And here's how I would do this, make a list of what criteria define the popular culture genre, choose a visual written genre, and then make a specific list of what criteria should be used to convey whether the visual written genre does or does not fit the genre, fit the definition of the genre of popular culture. And that's basically all you're doing, and you want one claim, one citation, um, see. Okay. And so I want to just go back to the outline again because it does, and like I said, I know that the worksheet is in depth too, but the outline, to me, it is a little bit easier just to kind of go back to this outline to explain the structure of it. So that was week 8. So this is from week 7. And also, I'm going to be trying to work as much as I can on getting papers back to you the next couple of days too. And I have not gotten to the outlines at all yet. So I've been working on the popular culture and academia discussions, getting those back. Okay, so as you can see here, that you want a topic sentence that transitions from the last paragraph. You want in the first body paragraph, you want to make a claim about the purpose of the visual or written genre. And then you want to cite a specific example. Like I said, if for some reason it doesn't have, let's say it doesn't have, if you really don't know what scene or what chapter something is from, as long as you can describe it to give evidence that that is going to be okay in this paper, but it's best if you can get in the habit of citing because of the fact that it will be required. It, it'll be required in the research paper, and so. And so it includes like the language they use, the platforms creator chose to spread their text, and so on may give insight. Then you want to give a specific example. Um, and then you just explain how this shows the purpose of the visual written genre, how it meets the criteria. And once again, I think it'd be best to focus on the film or whether it's a film or a book or whatnot here. And then the next paragraph that is the text following the usual characteristics of the genre. So this is like if it's, a tragedy or comedy, focusing more on the subgenre here. And then once again, you're just going to give an example and just explain whether the source fits the genre conventions of the popular culture genre based on the example above. And then the last body paragraph, do the ideas in the text come from somewhere else? Can the reader or consumer interact with the text? Is the text inviting that interaction? And then bring in an example. Cite as follows, and either author's last name or the director or producer. And then explain the example of the connection, or an example of the text originality fits the definition of popular culture. Um, yeah, and then you just want to reflect, at the end, just reflect and explain once again any life lessons or values learned and whatnot as well. So those are just the main things to review. And do y'all have any questions about, and you can work with the same source that you worked with before, and the narrative, but like I said, it's just going to be a little bit different because you're not going to be focusing on that creative storyline that you came up with. Do y'all have any questions about the assignment, or does everyone have an idea of what they would like to do or want to talk about what you're wanting to write about or well, no, I know you were asking me some questions. Did you still have questions about your paper, what you're writing about? And Amy, I believe I know you wrote me quite a bit too about your project.
Um,
I think I'm good
so,
on mine.
Okay.
yeah, I figured out my outline situation. And I kind of wrote a rough draft of like my essay in a way. But I've been wondering about the essay. You mentioned about citations. You only wanted one citation, or can we have multiple from the book, or only one outside source?
Yeah, you can have multiple from I just a minimum of one citation, that I just, felt like that would be best to at least have one citation. But if you have more, that's okay as well. Um, so, yeah, if you have multiple citations, that's gonna be okay. Just make sure you do explain each one before that you state the next claim and cite again. So you just want to make sure you explain the citation, how it proves your point before stating another claim and citing again.
Okay, thanks. Also, I have another question.
Okay.
For the paragraph, you said to refer to our discussion about like, refer to the previous discussion. Did you want us to like talk about the Batman or like include that in our paragraph?
For the Rosenberg article, for the Rosenberg paragraph or your paper?
Yeah, the Rosenberg paragraph.
Yeah, the video. So there's a video on there that you can watch that and tie that into it.
Did you want us to include our discussion in like the discussion on
You
popular
can't.
culture in any way?
Yeah, you can. Tie that into it as well. Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm not sure how to raise my hand.
Okay.
Um, I'm kind of confused in the difference between an outline and a rough draft.
Okay, so for an outline, that basically all you're doing is you're just essentially you're just mapping out the main ideas. So let's say that in paragraph one, so you just write Roman numeral one, introduction, and then if you want to just if you don't want to have to write the topic sentence and whatnot, you could just write so I believe I have the topic sentence and the thesis. So you could just write a thesis if you want to, and then you need at least under each main body paragraph point, at least have a claim and evidence or an example. So you can have A and B, your claim and your evidence or your citation in each paragraph. And then in Roman numeral 5, you could just sum up. You say, I will, discuss, emphasize, um, or just map out the life lessons learned, A, B, and C, that you're going to talk about in your paper. So it doesn't have to be overly detailed. It just needs to be a sketch of what you're going to write about in your paper.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you can be really detailed with it. I know like how I wrote it out, it is more detailed, but you do not have to be that detailed with it as long as you just map out the thesis, the claims, the evidence and examples, and you just sum up what you might talk about in the conclusion, and that's all you really have to do for that.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
So I'm looking at the assignment instructions, and I know that you want us in the introductory paragraph to include like the definition, but the way that like when I wrote out my introduction, I kind of just talked about the criteria of popular culture, like what it means for something to be considered popular culture. Is that okay, or do you want us to include like the
That
full
that
definition?
That's okay if you'd like to define. I mean, it is good to define it, and then didn't use a criteria, but on as long as you have clear criteria and you're explaining how that ties into popular culture, then that's okay as well, as long as you because that's the main point is defining the criteria and then explaining how it fits in. So that's okay as well.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? If y'all have any questions, when you're writing your paper, just let me know. And like I said, I'm gonna update this here for the worksheet to have the bonus for the tutor.com. Are y'all and for the links and everything, are the links okay for this week that you've looked at or from last week? Did anyone have any problems with it again?
Nope.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because the last time that discussion was lost in the calendar or something, and I went and found it because it was I don't really know what happened, but um it looked like on the home screen it said some things were disappearing off Canvas or something. I haven't noticed that with mine, but it says something like going to the favorites bar. So I think sometimes stuff does happen, but you should always I think we should always be able to find it if something does happen. So I'm glad everything worked. And the announcements, I do post this every Sunday, and I'm making sure to copy the correct links from the CRN for each individual class so that you should be able to click on those links and it should still work for you as well. For you to um, to access the articles and also the assignments from those also.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is it do we have to post a PDF file for our assignments, or can we just text it in the thing and reply?
For the I'm sorry, what now?
Like when we're turning in assignments, do we have to
No?
put it in PDF, or do we have to use the text bar below?
So either one. If you put it in PDF, it is easier for me to I can give you more feedback. If you use the text box, I try to be as detailed as I can, but I just kind of have to write in the text box to the side myself and put all my feedback instead of you get little comment bubbles and for the other PDF if you upload it, it's usually better if you can upload it in PDF, but if it's too much time and a hassle or something like that, then as long as you use the text box, that's okay too.
Thank you very much.
Well, if y'all and like I said, if y'all have any questions, just please let me know. And I'll be glad um to get back with you as soon as I can. I realize I haven't really been looking at I think it's the J Mathis one email as much. I've been answering from the A00 this is the one through Canvas mail. So if you want to just try to email me mostly from the Canvas mail, I'm still gonna be checking the main, but it does take a little bit longer for me to go into the other email. I think it's my J Mathis one. But the Canvas one, I can even access that from my phone. And if you download the Canvas app, I recommend downloading the Canvas app. It is helpful because it will let you know if things have been updated and you can see what's going on with classes. But yeah, the A00367631 at alabama.edu is also a way to contact me as well. Yasmin, do you have a question? And
Yeah.
Kane?
So just quickly about the peer revision worksheet. If we choose to do like tutor.com, so would we have to still complete the peer revision worksheet? Like how would that work?
Yeah, so for the tutor.com, you still want to do the worksheet. It's just extra credit. So I want to post those questions as well that go with it on the worksheets. And that you still do the worksheet, so you just want to review your own paper, and then you would complete those questions based on your experience with tutor.com, and then you get 5 extra points.
Oh, okay. Could you also have someone else review your paper and then do also tutor.com on top of that?
Yes, you can. That's fine too.
Okay.
You said earlier that you were changing the peer review partners. Did that
Yes.
change go through already?
Yes, I did update it. Did you have were you assigned a partner last time that wasn't in the class anymore?
I believe so. I've never seen them respond to any of the discussion posts.
Okay, let me see if I can go in and update that for you too here. Um, so Kane, let me look at that and see if I can put you with somebody else. Yeah, if that happens, just let me know, and I will update that for you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. So Kane, you're is it 12455 CRN?
12456.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Kane, 12456. Okay. Kane and Taylor, is Taylor? I don't think I have seen any work from. So you're saying that Taylor is not active? I don't think I have seen any work from them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know that Isaac and Chloe, and I don't know if Chloe's been doing work lately. I know Isaac. Um, I could just try to put you with Isaac Glorioso. Isaac, and then I guess I could put Chloe. There's anybody with sometimes I would just use put three together. Let's do Sophia, Chloe, and Margaret. And so yeah, I just updated that for you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I hope that y'all have a great week, and if you have any questions about your paper along the way, just let me know. And then the next week, I believe we'll meet to do um we'll meet to do the revision. So if you want to have your paper revised, let me double check though, because I think that I had that scheduled. The revision, if you want to have your paper revision, we'll meet next Tuesday on Teams again for your extra credit. So week 9, let's see. Yeah, so we'll meet on Tuesday. If you would like to have your papers reviewed, we'll do that then. And you'll get your extra credit. So that's what we'll do next week. And like I said, if y'all have any questions, just let me know. And I appreciate your diligence and your hard work that all of y'all are doing an amazing job, and I appreciate it. And Kane, do you have another question?
No, ma'am. I'm not sure how to put my hand down now.
Okay. Well, I hope y'all have a great night. And I'm gonna, because I'm recording this. Yeah, I don't know how much of it's gonna load to YouTube because I've been on here since 8 o'clock. So whenever I can get to YouTube, I will, I will post the video from this to the YouTube and post the link after this. But I hope that you'll have